This is the LowcoSports Lowdown podcast. Here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett and Wes Kerr.
Hey, LowcoSports fans. Welcome to the LowcoSports Lowdown. Back on a Tuesday night, having a few gremlins here, so we're getting a little late start, but yesterday was really the day of the gremlins. We just punted the show last night. Didn't feel like a safe technological venture given the events of the day.
Apparently the Wi-Fi was out. It was everywhere.
Everywhere. It was the day without the internet. I had no cell signal all day, completely cut off from the outside world.
Well, that's what I'm hearing. All the Beaufort County schools. Yeah. It was
Yep. It was a black hole at
quite a rough Monday. Yeah.
It's terrible. Just a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Whoever wished for us to go back to before the internet, don't do that again. That was awful. The kids were like, man, your lives must have sucked. And I was like, well, no, because we didn't know anything different. But it's hard to go back now.
I got to experience kind of both because when I started school, the internet was a thing, but like they didn't have access in the classroom, so you had to teach, basically how it's been done for the last 100 or so years, or however long before the internet came around.
Right. Yeah.
And then once like the internet came around, in terms of like the access everywhere, like in the classrooms, and the teaching relied on, through computers and not through blackboards and whatever else. You got to have the internet connection, or else you're kind of screwed.
Yeah. There's not a textbook for my class, for example.
Right.
The technology class. It's kind of hard to do without the technology.
It says in the name, technology.
Country Mo, what's up, buddy? Miss you, bud. Country Mo went back to New Hampstead. We miss him. But yeah, so we took last night off and we're back tonight. Max Arraj will be joining us a little bit later around 10. We are going to talk a little high school football, of course. New rankings came out. We'll talk through those. We'll talk more about what happened in week 5, kind of reflecting on Friday night. And, now that we've had time to think on it a little bit more, we'll put out the new power rankings tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow if you want to see us reason through that process. Although I already did mine, and it's not as many changes as you might think, given what happened. It shuffles a couple of spots around, but everything mostly stays the same. And we'll talk a little high school volleyball, including with Beau Gwynn, our May River correspondent, who I believe was out in the tank tonight for a big game. They swept Beaufort. It was on Beaufort's own, so we'll check out the highlights on that. But the show presented by our all-star sponsor, Mickelson Law Firm. They're our original sponsor, came on board in 2017 when we got this thing started, saw what we were doing, and wanted to be a part of building it. And we appreciate them sticking with us throughout. They've been with us since the beginning. So call on Mickelson Law Firm if you have any legal needs. They're right in downtown Bluffton, and they can help you with just about anything. They are our official real estate closing attorney of LowcoSports and the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Christian Academy coverage, but they can help you with all your legal needs at Mickelson Law Firm, all-star sponsor and presenting sponsor of the LowcoSports Lowdown. And now let's go ahead and welcome in our man on the street in the tank, Beau Gwynn. What's going on, man?
How we doing?
Doing all right, brother. I know you've been keeping tabs on those Sharks.
Yeah, I got a couple stats from some games this past week, between today and a couple over the weekend. So as y'all said earlier, girls volleyball got a nice 3-0 win over the Beaufort Eagles tonight, and that puts them at 1-1 in the region with 2 games played, with that tough loss to Bishop England last week. Our boys volleyball also played Beaufort today. They also had a 3-0 sweep there, which puts them at 3-0 in the region with 3 games played already. And then our girls tennis took a tough loss today to Hilton Ed, which puts them at 1-1 in the region now. And then our girls golf team once again gets a first place finish out at the Greenwood Invitational, and both Claire and Robin made the all tournament team.
Well,
very nice.
Nothing surprising there. Just another day at work for those ladies. But checking out some highlights here from Beaufort and May River tonight in the tank. I'm sure you were right there in the student section, hyping the girls up.
Yeah, you can see me right there to the left with the blue shirt on right there.
Yeah, you're always right there front and center. But tell us a little bit more about this volleyball team, because I know you've been checking them out all season. Who was getting the job done tonight? What was the key?
So Buford, we played them earlier in the season in that little scrimmage / like try match. And Buford is they're a solid team, but I mean the girls were just playing. They're on fire tonight. It seems like almost every game, no matter who we're playing, if a ball comes over the middle, there's about a 5% chance it's going to make it over if Lauren's playing in the middle. Anytime Lauren goes up, there's a good chance that thing's going back down on the other side of the net.
Going back the other way. What were you saying, Wes?
Yeah, I got to watch a couple points, and I was really impressed by the serving. A couple of aces late in that throughout, but also especially late in that third set, and some excellent work up front as well with the blocking and with the finishing by the outside hitters. So you guys look primed. Certainly dominated this one against Buford with the 3-0 sweep. So now it all turns to a big win on Thursday against Bluffton, which has huge region implications. Looking at what's to come in a couple of days on Thursday night, so already getting pumped for that one.
I've actually been informed that there's a possibility we might not be playing that game on Thursday.
Because of the inclement weather or the hurricane
there might not be any sort of after-school activities which would not allow a volleyball game to be played.
Right. I saw that Buford. I wonder how Buford moved their game to Wednesday.
So I don't know anything. I don't know anything about them moving the game to tomorrow, but I do know as of right now, I don't believe that there would be any games allowed played on Thursday.
How do you think that would affect football on Friday? Obviously, it's another day in advance.
Right.
I think the weather should be better. You just worry about the fields if it's too soaked, especially the turf fields. So
well, the turf fields will be fine.
The non-turf fields.
The grass fields. Yeah.
So I don't really know of any teams around here that play on a grass field nowadays. If y'all,
we do at Hardyville.
Okay, so Hardyville does, but I know Buford, Bluffton, Maryville, Hilton Head. I know Ridgeland has one.
Right.
Doesn't Whale Branch and both Battery Creek do also?
Yep. Yeah, all the Beaufort County schools do public schools. So it's all the Skeezes really at this point in Hardyville.
Yeah.
So I know getting something.
Yes. Yeah. So we play Georgetown this week, but we're supposed to head up to Georgetown, but Georgetown also has turf. So luckily there shouldn't be any field implications with that.
Okay.
Country Mo, as far as I know, yes, Hardyville at Royal Live Oaks on Thursday, still on as far as I know. But again, like Beau said, if school is canceled or virtual, then that takes all after school activities off the table. So
postponed to a later date, most likely.
Yep. Welcome to hurricane season. Yep. How'd you enjoy your week off from the Friday Night Lights, Beau? You said you got out of town, right?
Yeah, I actually did get to a game Friday because the Campbell game that I attended to on Saturday wasn't until later, so I got to leave there that morning. So I got out to a game Friday. I got to go watch Bluffton play Lucy Beckham. It was a solid game. Yeah. They both played a good game. Lucy Beckham's Bluffton played a solid game. Lucy Beckham's quarterback did go down early. From what I watched, I didn't see that he came back in the game at all. But that's not to take anything away from a win. That's a solid team that they got to win on.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Bluffton looking good. I got Bluffton Hilton Head on WSAV this week, assuming that the hurricane doesn't mess us up.
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that one, because those are definitely two teams that you guys have been scouting throughout the season, preparing for your shot at both of them, and they kind of take center stage on Friday. So what do you think about that matchup?
Yeah, I mean, luckily, I kind of like that. A lot of the rival games that we play, including Hilton Head, Buford, and Bluffton, happen to be our last three games. So we get to play Carleton County and Bishop England first, which is not as much as a rival game. So we do get to take a little look at them. That should be a really good game. I didn't get to go out to Hilton Head. I'm guessing y'all were there. Hilton Head got a good win over.
Yep, I did. I was there.
Hey, Hilton got a good win over a solid Hampton County team.
I expected this game to be competitive, but I think the scoreline kind of shocked everybody with how much they dominated early in that game.
Yeah, obviously I didn't get to watch the game, but I looked halfway through the game and it was 21-0 Seahawks.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I was just impressed by the way Hilton got out there. It was the opening kickoff which really set the tone where they covered the fumble. And from then on, they were able to execute that run game, and that's the bread and butter of Hilton's offense. I'm really, really excited to see how they can continue that momentum into this Bluffton game. It should be a tremendous ball game, especially. I mean, we'll definitely preview a lot more when we get into it the next few days, but I'm excited to see how Hilton's defense can do against Aiden McCarthy and that Bobcat attack, because I was very optimistic by the way the Seahawks were able to control the line of scrimmage and make it difficult for Hampton's explosive offense to get going. Obviously, Bluffton has a little bit more in terms of maybe high-end talent in terms of depth. So we'll see how.
A little more in the passing game,
right.
Which I think. If Hilton Head has a weakness, it might be the pass defense. They haven't been tested that much on that side of the ball. So
I thought they did better. I thought they did better in the Hampton County game, but Bluffton passing attack certainly a little bit more.
It's a different animal. It's a different animal. You got to put a lot of guys in coverage, and they kind of force you to use different personnel than you'd prefer to use sometimes, just because the way they spread you out and stuff. So that's the interesting thing to me is how both defenses, because both defenses have looked pretty good at times, but they've also Bluffton's in particular has gotten shredded a couple of times too. So how does each defense stand up? Hampton was able to run the ball pretty well against Bluffton, but Lucy Beckham's a run heavy team, right? And they shut them down pretty good. So I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a pretty good matchup where it comes down to execution and taking care of the ball and things that it usually comes down to, right, Beau? The coaches say that every time for a reason, because if you take care of the ball and execute well, you usually win the game. So
the one thing I'm interested to see is with Bluffton being such a big passing team, if it's downpouring, if it's downpouring rain, if it's raining heavy, how's that going to affect how they're going to be able to adjust?
And that has seemed to negatively impact them previously this season. Savannah Country Day, it was raining that night, and it didn't go well for them. It was raining off and on that Hampton game, and it didn't go well for them early. So I think that's a good point. If it's wet, that does not seem to suit them because they like to throw it. Although I think McCarthy's growing into the job too. He was
and
a lot more poised this last week.
Holly has been exceptional at running back. The run game has been developing, so that's another
right. Their biggest issue has been those couple of games they fell behind early and they couldn't really run the ball. They had to just stand back and throw it.
That was the one thing I noticed about that Bluffton Lucy Beckham game is they got out to a 17-0 lead to start the game, and it's a lot easier to play your game when you're up early.
Right. The other thing I'm interested in seeing is we've talked about it before in situations where we've had the week shortened or hampered due to weather. This puts more pressure on these kids because they might lose practice potentially on Thursday. I know it's just one day, but I mean, they'll be built to motivation. I don't think this will be a problem because it's a rivalry game. These kids are going to be hyped up. It's the first game of region play. I don't think it really matters. These kids will be ready to go. But it's always interesting to see how things can be altered with. I mean, you expect to be played on Friday. You still don't know, depending on the weather. You never know. We could have a Saturday, some Saturday action. All
right, Saturday or Monday is on the table potentially. I'm not sure it's going to be all that, but we'll see.
I'm looking at the forecast. Obviously, the big day is Thursday, which you're saying that it's likely that severe weather is coming, and so we'll probably not see any athletic events going down that day. But Friday looks like things will clear up by the afternoon.
Yeah.
So I'd say most games will be played as scheduled on Friday as of now.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. Although, up in Georgetown, it's going to take a little longer for it to get up through there. But it also looks like it may be kind of tailing back at that point. So it's just hard saying. You know how these things are. You can't predict them.
You never know.
Out, so
one hour it's going right, 1 hour it's going left, the other hour it's going down the middle. You never know.
Yeah,
we've seen enough of them to know. You just got to wait and see what's going to happen. But yeah, should be a good week this week. What else is happening over at the well, how was the game at Campbell? It
was good. They took a tough loss. They I believe it was 24-17. They took a tough loss to a Stony Brook team, who's a team from up north, which is a solid. Yeah. They're out of Long Island, New York, which is a solid team in the CAA. Which is this is Campbell's, I think, third year in the CAA, which is. I think it plays a little bit of it's kind of rough for them because they're the farthest team down south in the CAA. Majority of the teams in the CAA is like Stony Brook, Delaware, all those teams up in the northeast corner. So a lot of times when they have to travel, they're having to travel all the way up there. Luckily, they got to come. It was at home, so it was not as much as an effect. But when they have to go up there, it's like that's a rough like a different climate change for them, especially when you get later into December and January playing.
Yeah, no doubt about
Absolutely.
it. But probably works the other way with the teams coming down this time of year. It was probably pretty steamy. They got turf there, right? So it's probably pretty steamy down there.
Yeah, it wasn't crazy hot. It was probably mid 80s, but down on the turf, it was probably in the 90s, I'd say.
I know we were playing baseball on turf this weekend, and it was hot. Now, we were down in Dublin, Georgia, so it was pretty toasty down there. It was pretty toasty. But so what Javon, setting up tents on top of press boxes. Yay. Rainy Friday means tents on top of press boxes for Javon.
Sure. But
rain or shine.
Beau, looking ahead to this matchup against Georgetown, and it's obviously you guys staying right there at the top 5 of the 4A poll. And we're getting to the last stretch before region play. So what do you want to take advantage of in this upcoming week as you guys make those final preparations to take on what should be a very tough and, parity-driven region with so many good teams? You're going to have to be on your best game every week. But just how do you think this last game will help you head into that region?
So I think we're just going to – as you've seen in the last 4 games, we're 4-0, so we've been playing our game. I think that's just what we're going to keep doing. We're going to keep rolling into practicing hard every single day and rolling into practicing hard 3 days a week, Monday through Wednesday. We get a nice walkthrough on Thursday, and then roll into the game Friday and keep playing what we've been doing the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, just keep running the ball. You love that as an offensive lineman. You love you prefer run blocking to pass blocking all day, right? So
yes, sir.
To get after people, especially you. You're a wrestler, so you like to get after people.
It's a lot. It's a lot fun to run block and then have to just sit back and pass block.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. You get to get after a guy. No, you guys, like Wes said, you guys are number 5 right now in the statewide rankings. We talked to you about it last week. Doesn't really mean anything. It's just kind of a way for us to kind of track who's doing what. But it definitely means that you have people's attention. I think
absolutely
going into region play, you're kind of the favorites. Hilton Head's right there, on your tails. But does that change anything for you guys? You if nobody else did, you expected to be here, right? So is it still just kind of the same mentality? People are coming for you, but it doesn't change what you do, right?
No, absolutely not. It's whether right now we'd be sitting at 4-0 or 0-4, we're going to be playing the same way, whether we got to target our backs or not. We're just going to continue to play our game.
I don't know.
I love it. I love it. It's fun to see the mindset, the energy of this team, and it's really built on what you guys did last year, and I think you guys are having a ton of fun. It's contagious.
Looks
when
like
you guys are playing well. It kind of gives off that same energy to the rest of this team, and I've really enjoyed seeing the growth and development just in a couple of weeks to start off this season. So, just going forward with this team, how fun has these first couple of weeks been in this season now that you guys have been competing hard and seeing the results this time and picking up some big wins?
Absolutely. We got a couple big wins against a couple good teams, and it's fun. It's fun when you win. Get to be it's the best. And my favorite thing is just like being able to be around my guys. Like when we're getting the wins, like it just shows the fact that all that hard work that we've put in every single day, 5 days a week since March, and it's just the results are finally showing. It's just fun to be around my guys when we get to get wins.
It's just look. When you're putting in the work, regardless, it feels a heck of a lot better to get rewarded for it than it does to go through all that the whole week and then walk off with an L and know that you got to go through it all again next week to get a shot at another W. So yeah, man, it'll grind you down taking L's, but ride the wave as long as you can. But thanks again, man, for joining us. We always enjoy it. What else is coming up on the Shark front this week? Volleyball.
I think
we're kind of wait and see on that Thursday. Anybody else playing?
I know the girls golf team is playing at a local tournament this weekend. I believe they're playing at
Moss Creek.
At Moss Creek this weekend, I believe, in a local tournament. And then I don't know about girls tennis wise, but I believe they have 2 matches a week also. So they probably waiting to see on that. And then the same thing with boys volleyball, I believe.
All
they
weather
the same days.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
weather dependent.
It's this time of year you really never know. Never know what can happen. But you mentioned the golf tournament, and it's going to be a good test for your team. And you're going up against several other Lowco squads. Hilton Head Prep at the WSCGA Invitational, so that's a good deal and should be a good opportunity to go up against a Hilton Head team, which they might see again in the lower state in the state championship meet. So
absolutely,
it's really good to see where they're at this point of the season because you're only a few weeks away from when it really matters.
Absolutely. One thing I wanted to point out about that is that I realized they've played in 5 tournaments, and excluding one tournament where they had a close second place fall, they've won each tournament, and it's been by a large margin. Absolutely. I mean, they're winning by 20, 30 strokes in tournaments sometimes. It's insane to me. They
seem to be getting stronger. I mean, because Claire and Robin have been what we knew they were going to be, but the other girls are making strides, and they seem to be getting stronger. The depth is getting better all the time. So
absolutely.
they're pretty impressive. But Hilton Head's strong too. That's going to be really fun to watch them go head to head.
And Hilton Head Prep is always a strong golf team between boys and guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, their girls are a little down right now.
Okay.
A lot of their talent has the Wilkies graduated, and then the head girl went to the high school. So their girls are a little down right now. I think their guys are still loaded, but their girls are a little down.
Yeah, they always find a way to get it done.
All the same teams will be here for this thing. This is the Rosie Jones WSC.
We had Rosie on the past to talk about it.
Yeah, so they'll get the good teams. I'm sure the Dorman and Chesney and all them will be here.
All the teams from the upstate.
The usual suspects. But it'll be good.
My one question is, I know with 6 teams in our region and Bluffton and Hilton Head playing this week, but with us playing a non-region game, is there another team playing a non-region game this week? Would that be
no? Beaufort has a bye.
Beaufort's got a bye. So it's called County playing Bishop England this weekend.
The only region game is
the Colleton County plays Stratford.
Interesting. So it's
So
it's an odd schedule,
right? Because normally you have the whole region slate over 5 weeks, but this year it's over 6 weeks because Hilton Head Bluffton starts off
people on buys and stuff like that,
right? Because all the bye weeks and effects,
with stuff like that.
Yeah, it's odd.
Different.
It's odd.
And the other odd thing is that in a few weeks in October, I believe week 9. We will have no Skeezy games, but we will just have high school. We'll just have high school games.
Although a couple Skeezy games have already been rescheduled to that open day.
Because it was a built-in bye week or a built-in makeup week is what it really was. Because of, I guess, weather.
What's funny though is like Hilton Head Prep's game last week got moved to that open week, but now what are they going to do if they get hurricaned out this week?
Right.
Oops. Shouldn't have thrown the challenge flag on that one. Bishop England is at Woodland, by the way, which is a good matchup.
Well,
Bishop England
strong 218.
Yeah, real strong. Bishop England came back to earth a little bit because Portergad beat them by 20. Portergad's rolling people. Though.
Team.
They're rolling people.
That first week, I seen Portergad roll down to Hilton and Christian and steamrolled them, which was. I mean, I knew Hilton and Christian lost a couple people, but they were still a solid team last time I looked, and now it's just. Portergad was just rolling teams,
and they've proven that they are a solid team since then. So
yeah, absolutely. So that just shows the strength of Portergad, how good they are.
Right. Yeah, and I think it shows the divide between like Skeeza 3A and Skeeza 4A too, because they went up to Hammond this weekend too and got absolutely hammered. It was 55-0 at halftime. Hilton Christian did. So I think the Skeeza 4A is the schools in the population centers where they can truly recruit kids. They're strong. I've heard talk about the idea of a Skeeza 5A, so to speak, where you take the big dogs from 4A and you get all the Oceansides and Grays and all them to go in, and then you get the Savannah Christians and the Calvarys and all them to go in, and you make it a Skeeza 5A. That would be fun.
I don't think I'd ever. I don't ever see Grace. I would never see Grace Collegiate or Oceanside going to play private school competition instead of public school competition. I think they want to stay.
I don't know. Yeah, I think so, but we'll see how that multiplier impacts them. That might change their thinking a little bit, but we'll see. I don't know. It'd be interesting. There's a lot of places where they do that. Like the private schools have their own league, privates and charters, and it just eliminates that whole thing. That's controversial, but anyway, good talking with you, man. Get some rest, and we'll talk with you down the road. And best of luck on Friday up at Georgetown.
Absolutely, thank you, everything for coming on and everything like that. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's night.
All right, you too, man. Take care. Beau Gwynn, May River Sharks correspondent for Team Lowco. I love talking with that kid. He's a natural. He's good at talking on camera. But anyway, let's shout out some more sponsors, the MVP sponsors of LowcoSports. We got our newest sponsor, Base Hit Life, our apparel partner. They've got cool baseball and softball apparel for all ages, moms, dads, kids, players, baseball, softball. They got some cool new Halloween styles, all kinds of stuff at Base Hit Life. Check it out and see if they've got a style for you. Live your best base hit life at basehitlife.com. We've got Mickelson Law Firm, we already mentioned, of course. Homegrown Home Inspections, our official home inspector. They're the best in the biz when it comes to checking out your home, making sure you're making a good investment. And if you're building a new home, you got to have them check on it every step of the way with their phased inspection. They'll make sure it's built right at Homegrown Home Inspections. And Hospice Care, the Low Country, official hospice provider of LowcoSports, providing hospice care, palliative care, free grief counseling, and much more at Hospice Care, the Low Country, where it's not about dying, it's about living. And finally, the USCB Center for Low Country Tourism Education, headed by our friend Coach Beach from the Hilton Head Seahawks, the director of football ops. Looking forward to that game on Friday night, hopefully on WSAV. Join me and Andrew Davis on the call for Bridge Bowl, whatever number we're up to, Seahawks and Bobcats. It's been a fun rivalry, man. I remember I guess it was, did they play that very first year or not until the second year? I think I covered the very first one.
Wow.
And Amos Hummel designed a special trophy for it. It was very silly and fun. And I believe the Seahawks took that one. Tim Singleton, Seahawks.
Yeah, we had that trophy displayed at Hilton High for a while because we had a nice run over there. But Bluffton certainly, with Ken Cribb's teams, bounced back.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna have to pull up the history and check that out. But let's see what else to talk about tonight. Couple other volleyball scores that I did come across. JP2 swept Lawrence Manning 3-0. That was after they beat Patrick Henry 3-1 last night. So JP2 continues to look like a really solid Skeeza volleyball team. We talked with Beau about the 3-0 win for May Rivers girls over Beaufort. They stay hot. May River boys stay hot with a sweep of Beaufort as well. If you got other volleyball scores, hit us up. I know Denmark Olar beat Hardyville. I'm going to guess Bamberg beat Ridgeland. And Morris was over at Royal Live Oaks against Allendale. I'm going to bet on Allendale taking that one. Some of the boys in my class were interested in that match as well, and I think it had to do with the Allendale players. I'll leave it at that. Might have been why Morris was over there taking pictures too. But I saw something that I sent to you a little bit ago, but we'll try to wait for Max to come around to talk about that.
He will not make the show tonight.
He's not going to make it. Got caught up at work. Well, that's unfortunate, but
no Max tonight. We'll have to wait to tomorrow.
No Max. No, we'll go ahead. We'll go ahead and talk about it tonight, and he can bring it back up tomorrow if he wants to. But let me get my screen up here. Switching screens, because we've got a Lowco superstar who's still shining. Look at that guy. We know that guy, John Peduzzi, the president of the week at Washington and Jefferson.
President of the week. How about that?
Career high for receiving yards. He had 7 catches for 207 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 55-16 win over Waynesburg. His longest catch of the day, it looks like that says 69. I can't tell if the kerning's a little tight, but I think it says a 69-yard touchdown. Also made an impact on special teams with a block punt, leading to a quick touchdown in the first quarter.
Yeah, that speaks to what he's done it screams JP Peduzzi, because that's how he played at the high school level. This was a guy who he wasn't just the offensive skill set, but they put him on defense. They put him everywhere in the playoffs, especially. He was everywhere for Ron Peduzzi's squad, and I'm sure the dad continues to follow what he's doing, and he's got to be super proud, because I knew that guy would find a way to dominate and excel whatever college or whatever program he landed in, because he's just built as that kind of guy, that all effort player that's going to give you 110 every snap, every time he's out there, and no 16. Surprise that he's impacting this team wherever he is put, and I'm excited to kind of follow the rest of his career and see where it unfolds, because never sleep on that kid. Just like his sister Abby, who's doing some great work on the volleyball court. Yep.
I was just going to check. I know she's been balling out too, but look at that. JP's got a touchdown grab in every game this season. Already has 16 catches, 400 yards, and 5 touchdowns in 3 games. So definitely balling out. He's also, that's a good example of the did he award 21? Yeah, that sounds right. 21.
Yeah, he did. That's right. Yeah. I remember it was 21.
Also, he's an example of the transfer portal working well for the kid. He went to Lenore-Rhine, spent a year there, wasn't where he wanted to be, found the place he wanted to be, and he's thriving. So that's why when people start, poo-pooing the transfer portal, I'm like, now hold on just a second. We don't need to be making 18-year-old kids sign away the next 5 years of their life and just tell them tough stuff. You made a bad decision when you were 18. No, you should be able to pivot at that age and go on to something different. So I'm glad that he was able to find his home and is having great success there. And let's be real, he's going to be a great football coach.
Yeah,
he's going to be a really good football coach someday.
Yeah. Yeah, he has.
That kid has been.
Knowledge. He's a sponge. He's been absorbing it since he was a 5-year-old walking down the sideline. I remember you had the story where you saw him as a.
Please get off the apparatus.
And look at him now. It just that's the stuff you love to see when you get the kids and they become grown young men and they're doing big things beyond the Lowco. So that's the fun part of it. rewarding for sure. Because even for me, watching him at the end of his high school career, I see him his junior and senior season. I think the first touchdown pass I remember seeing on that field was Hayden Shin to Peduzzi, although I saw some Christian Academy games way back in the mid-2000s as a young kid, but that was a while ago. But still, that's some fun memories that were made on that field. I was sad to see them leave the Hilton Head campus, but I'll tell you what, I've had some good memories on that Bluffton field too.
Yeah, that new campus has good vibes. Look at Abby leading the Pembroke Braves with 129 kills through 11.
Once again, not
matches.
Surprised. She was a 3-sport phenomenal athlete. She did it all over there and racked up the hardware, soccer field and the basketball court. She was one of those glue players on that basketball team as well. So, unsung hero who was not talked about enough.
22 kills.
Oh,
22
man.
against Mars Hill, and then 19 against Lenore Ryan the same day. That's a good day's
work.
Yeah. And also 21. Wow, those are some massive double doubles. 2020.
Wow,
it's a big day. But yeah, Abby killing the game. So Peduzzi family still getting it done. Outside of Lowco now, and that family is traveling all over the place too.
Yeah,
checking out games. They're living their best life. Ron's a little busy this time of year, but I still, I see him show up in the photos from time to time. But top new rankings came out today. We mentioned May River holding in the top 5. They dropped one spot. They were 4, right? And they fell to 5.
They were 4. They dropped one down to 5.
I think South Point jumped ahead of them, which South Point probably
I had
them
ahead of May River as well. I had them at May River,
too.
which made sense.
I think I had May River at 6 or 7. No disrespect. It's just there's some teams there that have played really tough schedules.
And that's my second point. I said that, okay, I was going to have Hilton in there, but once I kind of checked, like the problem is if you put one team in, you get who do you take off? And you're really deserving to take off of that list because I
slid Hilton Head at 10, but it was
I put North Augusta.
homerish.
I put North Augusta in the top 10. They finished just outside of it. I liked North Augusta, what they were doing. So
I weighed that.
Yeah.
I might have even had North Augusta.
Yeah.
I had North Augusta at 9, actually. Hartsville was the one I bumped out. I have Gray out, but
think about it. Yeah,
I have Gray out, but do I really believe Hilton Head would beat Gray head up? I don't know.
Well, there was the tiebreaker. Gray beat James Island. Hilton Head lost to him. So
Gray beat. Oh, they did. Yeah, I should probably have Gray ahead of Hilton Head.
Yeah.
I just Gray's recent results. The 2 blowouts were expected, but then Midland
when it's
Valley.
close, I look at the schedule and you have that common opponent.
I missed that comp. Yeah, that's a good call. But if Hilton Head beats Bluffton this week, I may keep them in anyway. But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, when you start talking about South Point and Camden and South Florence and some of these teams, Gray Collegiate, Hartsville, it's hard to put our teams ahead of some of those because when we faced those teams in the playoffs in the past, it has not gone our way. So just being realistic about it. But we're also on there to give regional balance, to the polls. So I do try to kind of err on the side of our teams for that reason.
Yeah, I understand.
But then again, May River's ranked higher than I have them ranked. So Hampton fell to 4 into I dropped them to 3, but 4's perfectly defensible. Look out for Woodland, though. They're sneaking up on the outside. They got some good wins. That Binghamburg win last week was really solid. They got Bishop England this week. That's going to be a good test. Hampton has Christchurch, which is very interesting. Good little matchup there. And that's all we've got as far as our teams in the rankings. We're got those 3. Hilton Head is just on the outside looking in.
I put these rankings were kind of similar for a few teams that I maneuvered in different spots, but Hampton County 4 seems like a good spot for. I mean, It's very close. 2A is I actually had Batesford Leaguesville as the number 1 team. They got 5 first place votes. I was really impressed by what they did. Saluda certainly makes the case as the number 1 team, but I was really sold on what Batesburg Leesville is doing. That's a quality football team. But Hampton County's right there, and certainly tough way to see the perfect season come to an end against a rival on the Low Country Hilton, a game where I'm sure they knew they had a good chance of winning, but sometimes the execution doesn't go your way early, and that was kind of the difference in the ball game. But you learn from it and get ready to face off with Christchurch, I believe, coming up this week. Back in Varnville. They have had a couple ones in a row. It'd be nice to get back over to Hampton County to play in front of the fans again over at the. I don't know if they have named the stadium yet. There's the Storm Shelter. Was that the snack bar, the Storm Shelter? Yeah,
the Storm Shelter. Maybe I'm not sure. I don't know what they call it, but it's a great stadium.
Whatever it's called, it's a nice atmosphere. The Hurricane Walk is one of my favorite entrances in all of the Lowco. That's special.
Our friend Ian Guerin will be at that one.
Very nice.
Red Zone. He'll be putting the GPS vests on the players and all that stuff. So we'll get to see how fast Jalen Singletary can run.
Oh, you got pretty like a radar gun.
Yeah, you got the GPS vest that they wear. Yeah, it tracks them, so you get to see their top speed and all that stuff.
Awesome. So we'll definitely look for his tweets as that game goes on, and if everything is on as scheduled and the Bluffton game will be played on Friday, I will be doing my best Scott Hansen impression, running the show on Friday night for the Lowco Pigskin Live. 9:30 starts on Friday night. We got a good slate this week, and I think I was kind of playing with the slate and the games coming up. It's kind of like a midseason rivalry week because you have Hilton Head Bluffton, you have Ridgeland against Hardyville, and you have Whale Bench Battery Creek. So college football, you have rivalry week at the end of the season. It's always Thanksgiving weekend. This is kind of a rivalry week light, or like a mini rivalry week in the middle of the year.
Yeah, and I think you could throw Colleton Prep BA in there, and I think you could also throw Pinewood Prep Christian in there as kind of a new rivalry that has sprung up. So no, it's a really good slate. Got some good ones. The one I'm worried about as far as weather is just Ridgeland Hardyville, but because they could move it to Ridgeland, but I know Hardyville's not going to want to do that. You don't want to give up a home game,
especially like the first one back in this rivalry.
Right. So I don't know. I wonder
what they'll do.
Weather is a non-factor, is what I hope.
We have a Saturday night, Monday night game. You never know. We'll see what happens.
Saturday night could be fun, or Monday night. Yeah, only game in town situation could be cool. Yeah. Would be great for me because I'm calling the one, so I won't be able to be at the other. Although I think Hardyville may be down even more players this week, so I don't know, man. We're running out of numbers. 1A football is not for the meek, man. We're recruiting the hallways to try to make up for the guys who are injured or out for various reasons. Like it's tough. It's tough out there in 1A. Just trying to feel this. It's gonna be Iron Man football on Friday. We're hoping to get
it's all hands on deck because injuries pile up no matter what level you play, and so at the end it's definitely everybody left has to really push their own weight and then some. So it's a grind for sure. And every week it gets tougher and tougher. But, I love the fight and love the excitement going over there at Hardyville first year back. I love they got that first win early on. That was huge to get that dub under your belt. And hopefully we can get a bit more before the season comes to an end and set a good foundation in this first year back for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, that Allendale game is definitely one we need to have. That's one we got to have. And obviously we'd love to beat Ridgeland. That would be great.
Yep.
But Ridgeland's got some really solid players. Back from last year, a team that was they're more successful teams in a good while. So it would be a tough one. But we'll get deeper into that as the week wears on. Let's shout out our varsity sponsors. DDS Web Design builds, hosts, and maintains websites for businesses and nonprofits to get results. So if you need to get found online so you can do more and think bigger, go to ddshhi.com. Parker Law Group serves legal needs across Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties, and they're helping us continue to expand our coverage in those counties and shine a light on more deserving teams and student athletes around the Lowco. Dr. Ambrose Coles, our official chiropractor of LowcoSports. You can find him at Rooted Living Wellness in Bluffton, and he'll get you feeling right, mind, body, and spirit. And Reverence Wrestling Club, the official wrestling sponsor of LowcoSports and the presenting sponsor of the Lowco Grind. Take your skills on the mat to the next level at Reverence Wrestling Club. We're going to have wrestling in the Ville this year. My principal got home Saturday with the mats, so we're good to go. There was a great video that he sent me that I'll try to get over here. It's pretty funny. We're going to put it on the Canes News this week.
Nice. I love that you're doing that, because I remember when I was in high school, my senior year, we did a kind of a cheesy, in a sense, news show in the mornings. I kind of feel like that's what you guys are doing over there.
Well, it's very serious except for the last piece. The last piece of the news is always our offbeat man on the street segment. Yeah. And last week we had the bad jokes with teachers, and this week we've got pickup lines with the middle schoolers.
Oh no!
Yeah, they're pretty funny. They're pretty awkward, but they're fun. They're funny. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, we always do something beat at the end.
Yeah, that's great. That's great that these kids get an opportunity to participate in something like this, because public speaking, if you're interested in the media production industry, it's
cool to see. It's cool to let them see like how many different pieces of it there are, and some are not comfortable on camera, but they're comfortable doing a voiceover. And I'm like, well, guess what? There's a lot of news packages where you never appear on camera. You just shoot the video, shoot the interview, shoot the B-roll, voice the script, and that's it. Nobody ever sees you. And so now they're learning that like there's a role for you, even if you're not comfortable with that. Sound editing is a thing, sound engineering, making sure our sound is right. There's all kinds of jobs, and so it is cool. It's cool to
that's great. I mean, these
watch them embrace it. This week we had our first Spanish language piece on the news, which allowed our Spanish speaking students to get more involved and to have more representation from that segment. So that was cool. They were talking about what it's like to go to a school where your first language is not the dominant language, and they were all grateful for the opportunity to learn English and become bilingual. So it's cool. But no, we do have a wrestling mat now. Here's what my silly principal did.
Hey, wake up! We're back in the Ville.
That's his brother, Blaine, who checks in on the show from time to time. This was staged. He didn't really sleep in the trailer.
Wake up!
There they are. Straight from Indiana. A new wrestling match. He's the boss.
Hurricanes, we made it back from Indiana. Guess what? Wrestling's coming to the Ville.
That's my guy right there. That's my guy right there. Yeah, he and his brother Blaine. Big shout out to him. Drove him up to Indiana to pick up the mats. So we're ready to rock and roll with wrestling in the Ville. And there may not be an actual wrestling event that we put on to raise funds for the wrestling. So
yeah, that would be
on the lookout for that. There have been preliminary discussions about a wrestling event.
Keep your eyes out for that.
So keep your eyes out for that. But what else we got, man? What else you got? Anybody ball out? I was coaching baseball all day Sunday. I didn't get to watch a lot of NFL. College football.
Yeah. I've always been interested in seeing how Puna, tough loss that they took at the hands of the Pittsburgh Steelers, surprising 3-0 team, but even so, great start for Puna Ford over there in LA. I think that team with Justin Herbert's injury, that it's not what they would like to see in terms of the offense. But I like the way that Puna has been playing so far through the first 3 weeks. You know what he has done in this league. He's been a productive run stuffer. He's improved his pass rushing abilities, but when he's able to clog that line of scrimmage and create that kind of penetration to slow down the run game, and I mean the all effort that he saw week 1 and picking up the big man interception. I mean, what an iconic moment for him. It just goes to show you how much he loves the game and how much he has worked every step of the way, and now into the NFL, playing for now his third team. And it certainly didn't work well for him in Buffalo, but I think this opportunity in LA with the Chargers, 4 total tackles, 2 solos, one quarterback hit to his name as well, and that lost to Pittsburgh this weekend. So I'm impressed how he has fit in with this Los Angeles Chargers squad. And there's some questions. How would Jim Harbaugh do coming back? Strong start at 2-1 against a Pittsburgh defense. Obviously the Chargers D, you can't really take too much of credit away from them. I think it was just Pittsburgh's defense once again showing out against an LA team that's now without Justin Herbert, Taylor Heineke, now the starting quarterback over in LA. So that's not great news if the Herbert injury is significant for the Chargers. But how about the debut this season of the Red Rifle in Carolina, Andy Dalton, as he brings the Panthers back from the dead and absolutely torches the Las Vegas Raiders in a dominant win to give Dave Canales his first win as a head coach, and got to feel good for that. I mean, it was just everything was coming off the rails in those 2 starts under Bryce Young. But when you make a change at quarterback, you never know what can happen. And with a veteran like Andy Dalton, who had to see some of the toughest defenses in the 2010s when he played in the AFC North with the Ravens and Steelers and the Browns, there were some really good defenses he had to face. And certainly look at that journeyman quarterback who's been on a variety of teams and getting his shot now to take back the starting reins. He goes for 319, 3 touchdowns. I mean, just night and day compared to what we saw in those first 2 games. And now it's rejuvenated. I mean, certainly there are some problems that, long-term issues that you'd love to see fixed, but just for 1 week, the potential of what you could see. And even the defense kind of took the momentum from how well the offense was playing and showed it as well. And that sometimes it happens. The defense can feed off of what you're seeing with the offense. And for veterans like Shaq Thompson, I almost said Shaq Thompson, who is a former Hilton Head player, but Shaq Thompson, who has been with that Panthers organization for a long time, a number of years now. Great to see him leading that charge defensively. And then J.C. Horn showing what he can do over at corner. Still one of the most underrated defensive cornerbacks in this game when he's playing up to that level. So great to see, much needed for Carolina fans and for that Carolina organization, and bring some life in this squad, because now you feel like all of a sudden, obviously, it's 1 week. It's the Raiders, which is a bottom feeding team. Can they do it again back home against an 0-3 Cincinnati Bengals? What a surprise that is. Who would have predicted that the Bengals would be 0-3?
Now you got the Andy Dalton revenge game.
Yes, that was my next point. Yeah, Andy Dalton going up against his former squad. So I'm sure that will get him even more fired up for the opportunity for Carolina, especially back home. Should be a much bigger crowd to take in that one, especially on the Carolina side after he saw the paper bags over their heads. I think he'll be a little bit more excited for this one after what they saw from Andy Dalton. But yeah, revenge game opportunity. But certainly a surprise there with Cincinnati. Showed out well in the Chiefs game against your squad. But, man, give credit, though, to Jaden Daniels. He was spectacular for Washington. That's a team to watch out for if they keep getting that level of quarterback play from Daniels over there at LSU. The LSU matchup. that was kind of fun
about him. I was worried about him because I didn't trust his receiving core. I thought he was going to have to run too much and get dinged up. But, man, Terry McLaurin's looking like the real deal right now. And they got some guys, and Daniels looks legit. Yeah. So I don't know. I can't figure out NFL quarterbacks, man. Like it's so hard to know which ones are going to be able to manage that transition.
I'll tell you who's been a good bet, because he lost a lot, but man, Josh Allen looks as good as ever.
Yeah,
I mean, absolutely dominated the Jaguars team, really gasping for air at this point. But my God, he just makes it look really easy, and that's what the best do. They make it look seamless. And year in, year out, Josh Allen has consistently been at the very top
until he plays the Chiefs.
I'm already circling the calendar for that one. That should be. They always play epic bowl games against each other, and could be the top two teams, not just in the AFC, but all of football so far. So it's definitely exciting. A lot of there always is in the NFL, but when you look at the 3-0 teams left, I don't think anyone expected Minnesota to be one of them.
No.
I don't think anyone expected Seattle to be one of them, and even Buffalo, based on losing guys like Stephon Diggs. I mean, they lost a lot of guys, and Gabe Davis as well, receiving core. Josh Allen making the most of what he has for sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
McLaurin already had more than 10 quarterbacks in his career. That's insane.
That is crazy.
The AFC is it's a murderer's row, man. As far as the quarterbacks go in particular, it's tough over there. But Lowco Booster Club supports us, so please support them if you have the need. Court Lifestyle Pros, Daniel and Debbie Court, are with Charter One Realty. They want to bring you home to Hilton Head Island. Eagle Creations has promotional items and custom apparel, including Lowco swag. Go check it out and check out their little shop on Argent Boulevard to see what they can do for you at Eagle Creations. Jay's Barbershop, you can go in for great conversation, come out looking stylish in downtown Ridgeland. Jay's Barbershop is the place to be. Barefoot Floor Care of the Low Country. Chris Odom and his team will get your floors so clean your feet will thank you. Hudson Seafood House on the Dock, presenting sponsor of Under the Bus. I'll be running point again tomorrow night with my friends Rich Basirico and Kirk Kirkpatrick. Bob Stevens still out on assignment, so looking forward to that tomorrow night, talking sports with those fellas. And Hurricane Sports Cafe, the place to be in Hampton. If you need something to eat or drink, I recommend the Hurricane Burger, but there's all kinds of good stuff on the menu at Hurricane Sports Cafe. Our friends out there in Hampton drowning their sorrows this week after the Hurricanes took the L. But
segueing with that, because we weren't on air yesterday, so still got to name our teams of the week, and I think everyone will know where I'm going to go with this one.
Yeah,
I've got the homer pick this week, and it's much deserved for the Hilton Head Seahawks. You know, it wasn't too much of an upset. I may have called it more of an upset than it really was, because you're moving against a two-way school, but the way they did it and the dominance that they showed going out to that huge lead early in the game, well deserved as the standout team from this past week. And it all clicked early, and as I mentioned, that special teams can always be the sway that can really push you in on that right foot early in the ball game. And covering that opening kickoff was absolutely enormous. But man, was I ever impressed by that 1-2 punch in the run game of Troy Tipko leading the way alongside Zarnecki. Thaddeus Zarnecki was outstanding, and he came up huge on defense as well. But that ground game is legit the way they're running the football right now. Obviously, some tougher opponents to come, but they are pounding it at will for most. I mean, even though the loss against James Island, certainly the offense kind of limbed down, but that's a good Trojan defense, and they were still finding their way. Other than that, the ground game has been unbelievably good this season. So definitely watch out for the way that especially late in games, BJ Payne's team has grinded out some ball games with that ground attack. But talk about the way that Raniszewski came into this game. You know, first game back, missing some time, just a sophomore. That 2-minute drill where he's able to get that touchdown pass to end the punctuation on what was a terrific first half. Man, that was some maturity he showed on that drive to really gain some separation. And that separation was huge because Hampton County came storming back in that third quarter and almost made a 2-touchdown game again with that pass just a little underthrown by by Trish Terry, and if that was on the mark, that's a touchdown most likely. And so tough one there for the Hurricanes. They had a chance to potentially come from behind in that ball game, couldn't quite get the connection on what would have been a touchdown pass to make it a 2-score game. And if they do, then it's a whole completely new ball game. The pressure would be all on Hilton to try to close it out, and they've done a good job of that. But you never know, because Jesus threw an interception before that, and it's never easy against the Hampton defense to close in the game. So tough one for Hampton County, but they'll learn a lot from it as they go back home. But team of the week, it's about Hilton Head this week, and the offense was tremendous, but the way the defense backed them up, if that huge goal line stop midway through that first half, so many guys showing up defensively to power that Seahawks squad, and Zarnecki was one of them, but there were a ton of others as well. Benji Elliott, Josh Bigger, Caleb Spangler. That linebacking core has been sensational, and LJ Morgan doing some work as well. And the secondary is improved. That's certainly an area where you'd like to see them get a little better as you get into this Bluffton matchup. But man, are we in store for an epic bridge? But we have seen the last 2 years it has gone down to the wire, more so in that overtime game when you saw Owen Bays, who was still playing for Hilton at the time, when he was sharing it with Bybee, and then the next year Bays got the revenge and won it at Bluffton. But man, even that game was tight until the end. We've had some great finishes over the years. Jalen Snead, when he was there, had a nice Bridge Bowl performance in the Hilton Head win. So it just a year in, year out, it's a great rivalry, and it should be one of the most anticipated ones in terms just because of the potential for both these teams. I mean, they're a high-end situation. Best case scenario, they can win this region. I think you can make a case for Hilton Head, for Bluffton, for May River, for
I think every week you stay undefeated in the region, your chances go way up, right? So because if you can, it's possible that one win and a tiebreaker gets it done. Sorry, one loss and a tiebreaker. I mean, so every week you stay undefeated, your chances go way up. Here's what Javon is referring to with his text. There have been 11 quarterbacks who have completed a pass to Terry McLaurin in his NFL career. How many can you name, Wes?
Wow, that's incredible. Just to see the way the Washington, the revolving door that we have seen over there the last few years. I mean, it's crazy. That organization needs some continuity, needs some stability, and
they got a new owner, so I think that was step one. They had a psychopath as an owner, so stability was not really coming down the pike. So that's improved. But you want to take a run? You want to see how many of the 11 you can name?
You go ahead.
There's no way I could have done it. So obviously you got Jaden Daniels. You got Jacoby Brissett, Sam Howell, Carson Wentz, Garrett Gilbert, Taylor Heineke, Kyle Allen, Dwayne Haskins, Case Keenum, Alex Smith, and Colt McCoy.
That's a heck of a list right there. A couple of
who's who of
a couple of Panthers as well. Heineke was a Panther, and so was Kyle Allen. I remember Kyle Allen had that crazy run a few years ago, and then, of course, I think that Ron Rivera had a lot to do with that because he was a former coach of the Washington football team. Then, so. But yeah, that's crazy. A ton of revolving quarterbacks in the organization. Maybe they found one now. I know it's still early, but Jaden Daniels is looking a part of a guy that could be the long-term answer.
I think the only thing that scares Washington fans is the last guy who looked as much this part was RG3. And he looks an awful lot like RG3, and it did not end well with RG3. So I think that's the worry is fear that it's going to be the same thing. But so far, so good. But RG3 looked like the real freaking deal for a couple of years there, man. And his body just couldn't hold up to it. So I hope Jaden can fare better than him as far as that goes. Another parting thought, we were talking a lot about Abby Peduzzi and leading her team in kills. So I scrolled around and came across a couple of things. Remember Addie O'Grady? She is second on her team in kills at Upstate, just one off the lead with 133 kills this season in 13 matches. So she is killing it as well. Look at that hitting percentage, 249.
Ooh.
For a volleyball analytics guy, that's crazy high, right? For somebody
that's incredible. Yeah. Hitting percentage is, it's kind of a little bit like batting average in baseball in a sense. And
for someone with a lot of chances, that's
a sky high rate. And obviously you gotta give credit to the setters because they're kind of the players that make it kind of like in soccer, where you gotta have a good group of players to find you the ball, or in basketball with assists. Sure. There are a lot of different commonalities in different sports, but you got to have that finishing ability, and she certainly has shown that back at the high school level, and now here balling out as you mentioned.
D1, baby. Speaking of great setters, remember McKenna Mason, another former Seahawk? Well, she leads Ryder with 171 assists through 11 matches. And she's only started 2 matches, it shows. So she's definitely taking great advantage of her opportunities. But that's a lot of assists.
That's crazy.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Got one more in me. There we go. So yeah, I thought that was cool. I came across a post from Low Country Volleyball Club. And I was like, oh, we were just talking about Abby. Let's check in on these others. And they're also killing the game. So props to Low Country Volleyball Club for churning out some serious next-level talent on the volleyball court.
Yeah, love that. Hey, it's paving the way. Addie O'Grady, I remember how much of a stud she was. And, was the driving force of that state championship team in 2020. Oh, yeah. She was just phenomenal to watch. And to see how she impacted some of those younger players as well. That's all it really comes down to. Can you be that leader? Can you be that veteran? And can you come up? I think she finished it off. I remember she had the final point of that state championship match. Very fitting. Just man, what a player she was. One of the better who I've seen, not just Hilton Head, but across the Lowco. So props to her for continuing to excel on the court, because it's one of few who really excelled to that elite level. And you remember those names for sure.
No question about it. Any other parting thoughts before we call it a night?
I just hope everyone stays safe and who's in the path of the hurricane in the panhandle of Florida. It's always scary because this one kind of came out of nowhere. It was you never really know where it's going sometimes, and all of a sudden it's looks like around Tampa up to the panhandle beside south of Alabama, Georgia, that area. So still don't know where the land, but it looks like it's going to be the heaviest landfall, the most impactful landfall so far of this hurricane season. So just wish everyone this safety, and if you given the order, make sure to evacuate and stay safe and find higher ground, everyone closer to that region. But man, it's always a scary time of year, and hope everyone stays safe. And obviously here in the Lowco, hopefully that it's possible we lose some activities. It would be unfortunate to see that big volleyball match getting postponed. Certainly, we'll play that one on another date if we have to. But at the end of the day, hopefully everyone will stay safe and we make the necessary precautions to keep everyone away from danger, because that's the most important goal, more so than sports. So,
yep. There'll be other days to play the games.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I hope for the best. Definitely, this one did intensify quickly. Kind of popped up out of nowhere, like you said, and picked up steam. So, hoping maybe it'll fizzle out once it hits land and not do too much damage in our neck of the woods. But we'll keep you posted on how it impacts the LowcoSports schedule and scene throughout the week. And we'll plan to be back here tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. With Max Arraj, hopefully joining us as well. We'll update our Lowco power rankings for high school football and talk about whatever else is going on in the LowcoSports scene. Thanks to Beau Gwynn for jumping on with us and updating us on the Sharks. Always fun to talk with him, and we'll continue to develop him as as a voice here on Team Lowco and Lowco Sports Lowdown. Thanks as well to all of our sponsors, especially the OGs, our All-Stars, Mickelson Law Firm. And thanks to all of you for showing up to listen or watch. Tell your mom and them about the Lowco Sports Lowdown. We'll be back tomorrow night, 9:30, unless something crazy happens. For Wes Kerr and the absent Max Arraj, I'm Justin Jarrett. Till next time, go Lowco.
The Lowco Sports Lowdown podcast is a production of Lowco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing. Go